Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Saul Cassandra from mcscgreenwheels, and I'm here at home, and I'm working on these tie rods that I got from, I actually got the name for the company. I got them off of eBay. It was about a kit about $275, and it was inner outer tie rods with a sleeve, sway bar bushings, sway bar links, upper lower ball joints, and a fitment arm. Or actually, I should say, I take that back, an idler arm. And for some odd reason, these things have ballooned up to like about $150, from $90 to $120 a tie rod on the inner side of this car. And this is our '78 Trans Am, or a Pontiac Trans Am with the 6.6 in it. And for some odd reason, they've gotten really expensive, and some people can't even get it to us, not from the local stores. So I went ahead and bought it from the, from eBay, and they're called Anderson Restoration, front suspension stuff, and I got it from them. When they first sent it to me, it looked like everything was all right, but I immediately noticed something was wrong. One of my tie rods, one of my inner tie rods, looked to be like from an import. So obviously you could see that it wasn't going to work. And the other problem with this tie rod, which I take, this would be my passenger side, was the problem was right here at the top. And this Zerk fitting being here would eventually hit the cross member of the car, because it turns real tight in there. So the Zerk fitting will eventually get knocked off, making all the oil, all the grease jump out of there, and then ruining this inner tie rod. So I couldn't get it like that. So I called them back and I requested them. I requested to show them. I sent them pictures, and I showed them that I couldn't use this one for that reason, because of how close it comes into the cross member. So I wasn't going to be able to use it. I had to use the ones with the top of the Zerk fitting. So they went ahead and they sent me back 2 more tie rods. This time they sent me the correct tie rods, the inner tie rods left and right. But there was one thing. They said they did not have one, which was the driver's side tie rod, inner tie rod with the top Zerk fitting. They just had a sealed tie rod for it, which they sent me. Not a problem. I took it. As long as it had this bend in the opposite direction, it would work. I had no worries about that. And then they said that the left side, the right side, the passenger side, would have the Zerk fitting on top. Not a problem. So we get the tie rods and we come to get them in, and as you guys will see in the last video, we installed them, and I ran them in as far as I could, and I'm still getting about 3/4 to about 3/4 of an inch from top and bottom off. So I'm about 1.5 inches still too long. I contacted Anderson Restoration again, and the guys were super cool, and they were really trying to help me out and trying to find the tie rods and the equipment that I needed. Unfortunately, that was not gonna happen. So they wrote back to me and they said that it'd be cool, just send them back whatever I didn't need, they'd refund me or prorate the refund, whatever it is that I returned, and we'd go from there. At this point in juncture, it leaves me in a position where I have to take care of this situation. Now, this is the thing when you order parts online, that it's kind of frustrating to me, because I'm used to going up to it, seeing it, because I know I used to work for AutoZone way back in the day, and I know that somewhere along the line someone's gonna drop the ball, and someone's gonna put part 3255 in box number 3552, because we're dyslexic. It's what we do. It's what happens. So it's hard when you order and you can't see these parts up front, and so you have to wait. And now we're in the waiting game, and now we're texting. And we're emailing back and forth, and it's day here, day there, day here. And at the same time, the worst thing that's happening, I'm running out of sun. I'm running out of beautiful days. I'm running out of time to finish this car. So I have to take matters into my own hands, like usual here at MCSC Greenwheels. As you guys know, we have to get it done. So I ran them all the way in, and I'll show you what the outcome of that's going to be. So we're going to go ahead and install these, but what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you what I did. We're going to return these tie rods back to them, along with the sway bar bushes that they sent me for a 7/8 sway bar. The sway bar on this car is an inch and a quarter, so it's much thicker. So I'm going to return these to you guys, and I'm going to keep what they sent me. So right now what I just did, I did a little practice cut, and what I realized is on both my inners and outers, I have about this much more space than the originals. The originals are about this much shorter. Where my green tape ends, that's where the original would end. So I have about a good 3/4 of an inch extra. Explains what's going on. So what I did, I took my tie rod here, and we're gonna go ahead and clean this guy up, give it a little paint. He's looking a little beat up, but it's because we have to force it in there and just to make sure it works fine. And I cut that off. Like I said, we have to finish things up here at MCSC. There's my good friend Ruben that is dearly missing his car. So what do we have to do? We have to get the job done. So I cut off that little piece, made sure it came in here right. And now remember, this tie rod is reverse thread, so you have to be careful if you guys do cut it. Be very careful how you cut it. Pay close attention. Measure 3 times, measure 5 times before you cut it. Stop, take a breather, have a beer, cut again. Well, don't do that, but cut again. Take your time with it, man. You don't want to damage this thread, especially if you're in my predicament where no one has it, where it's not in stock anywhere, and they're charging you $120 for one. So be careful with it, guys. So what I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna show you how I did it, and I'm gonna cut up the rest of these. So let's get them done. And I already marked it where I'm gonna be cutting it off. Now, I'm gonna mimic this to my other tie rods. So I'm just gonna count how many threads I got here. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 threads. So I'm going to be cutting off the same amount of threads on my other 2 tie rods. It's good. But what I want to make sure is that my thread is continuously going so it doesn't bind up and cross thread my sleeve. I can see that the thread starts off right here, starts to move in, but I also have a little bit extra layer on top. So I'm just gonna go ahead and remove a little bit at a time right here to the top to just make sure that I can start off my thread nice and easy, doesn't cross thread my sleeve. Now, let's test it out. Oh yeah, baby. And how they say, we're in business. So we're gonna go ahead and set this up. This was my original tie rod, both inner and outer. So you can see how they look, which is amazing, which I'm gonna be selling these on eBay for vintage stuff. I know what I have. But no, I'm gonna go ahead and measure it out to this. And then if we need some further adjustments, we'll go ahead and give it some adjustments. But for right now, let's go ahead and measure these out. Like I said, the inner tie rod spins in the counterclockwise, so that's due for measurement, for adjustment purposes. So when you turn this in or out, it brings it up, brings it in on both sides. And then this, the outer tie rod, just goes in regular clockwise. Now I would say just count your threads here on the back end of your tie rods, but since I know that these are not exactly the same, I'm gonna run with the exact measurement as best or as close as I could possibly get it to the original. Wow, would you look at that. So I'm a little bit on the high side on mine, but if you look, like when I originally, before cutting it, I was still like out here, and that was like completely turned all the way in. So now and that still gives me that I still have a lot of gapping in here to go in a couple more turns for more adjustment. when I had turned them all the way in, they were already touching, and so that wasn't going to work. So I'm glad that we have that gapping, because that's going to allow us for further adjustment in the future. So let's see. About 19 and a quarter, I'm gonna say. We're still above that quarter. So the other thing that I'm gonna take into consideration, that these heads are a lot bigger than those, so I'm trying to get it just to, I'm gonna try and straighten up these pins and just see if I can get a proper measurement from there too. So it looks like we got that bad boy in. There we go. Let's go fit it on. Tighten these down because obviously we're gonna do some more adjustment. It is. There we have it. So if I was to set it straight, I mean, I think that's the right amount right there. And again, now we can come in here and actually adjust if we need to go further over that way. So this is actually going to work out for us. I'm pretty happy right now. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. Oh man, looking good. You going? And now we can move into, I can finish up the steering shaft. We can start to bring that in, and now we gotta get the engine in here. So let's do that. So in conclusion with this, guys, just check your parts, man. You know, I wasn't expecting this, you know, and I'm pretty sure anybody doing this right now, because here's to say that this isn't being sold to everybody. Maybe we're just the ones that are getting the off parts. I don't know. Maybe it's just us that really are requesting to the universe that we don't want anything done easy. I don't know what it is. Whatever it is, we're always going to try and figure out just to make sure we get it done right. I want to thank everybody on our Facebook page. Guys, if you are looking for a Fox body or any other car, go to our Facebook page on MCSC Greenwheels, man, and you guys will find out that we post just about any car on there, any Fox body, from giving away free to 50,000, and then we got Bel Airs and everything else in there. We always try to connect people with cars. We know that it's, you know, it's hard to get a car out there and anybody being honest. So try to keep the community nice and honest, guys. Come on, man. We're all trying to work on this. We're all blue collar slobs here. I want to thank everybody on our Instagram. Guys, go on there and give us a couple likes. Make sure you give us a couple comments, man. Let us know what we're doing wrong. And I definitely want to give everybody a thanks too out on our YouTube page. Thank you very much for subscribing, guys. Don't forget to like what we do. And if you know anybody that can benefit from this content, please don't be afraid to pass it on. We will see you soon as we try to finish up these cars, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Have a good night.